Hello, beautiful yogis. I'm so happy to see you dropping in and joining us for tonight's restorative yoga. This is what we need at this time to relax ourselves. We're going to start tonight in Shavasana. So lie on your back. Little pillow blankie will be nice, just tucked under the nape of your neck. Your bolster under your legs. And your blocks, if you have them, at the foot of your mat, so that you can hang your ankles over your blocks, or you can rest your heels on your blocks, or you can just push your blocks away. It doesn't matter. See where you are most comfortable. And then there's a sort of a snuggling in, snuggling your lower back and your buttocks, snuggling your upper back and your shoulder blades, your shoulders themselves, and then just positioning your arms alongside your body, if available, with the palms rolled open. And then the invitation is to just close your eyes, shift from the outer world into your inner state of being. It is so good to check in with how we are. Now, often we know, and often we get stuck in how we are, especially when it's challenging. So without doubt, we are living in very challenging times. And so this coming together as a community, all of us here in our little broadcast studio, and you showing up on our screens, we feel you and we know that you are here. And we know that you want exactly what we want, which is to feel better, to relax our nervous system, and perhaps to reframe some of the narratives that are running through us, causing us distress. So take a moment now to take a lovely deep breath in through your nose. Keep breathing in a pause. Hold this breath in. Make pursed lips and blow your breath out. A little lovely breeze coming through your lips. Closing them again for the nose breath in. So full of breath in that moment of hovering. It's so nourishing to do this. Conscious breathing, and then blow it out again through your pursed lips. As we did, nose in. Lovely, lovely fullness moment. Pursed lips, blow your breath away. And now your nose breath begins with your awareness in your lower belly. The inhale begins in your lower belly. And as you continue to breathe in, you could feel the ribs flaring a little wider apart. And as you keep breathing in, you'll feel the sensation of your breath high in your chest. This time it's a nose exhalation in your chest, the relaxing ribs, and then the softening of your belly as it empties itself of breath. The turnaround moment, and we begin again. Through the nose, the rising sensation of your breath, until we feel full and nourished, and we hold it a moment, and then out it goes through the nose. And this way of breathing is conscious breathing. Keep going as your body requires, as your body lets you know it's time to breathe in and time to breathe out, and how our body knows exactly what's needed. And how, as we shift to conscious breathing, we begin to modulate that a little bit. And as we modulate the breath, we're actually changing our state of being, changing our nervous system to, for most of us, bring it down a little bit from anxieties, fear of the future, and great concern about the world, all that's going on. We breathe it away with each exhalation. It is innately reassuring for your body-mind to exhale long and complete, and to continue with a generous inhalation. Beautiful breath in, the moment of turning around, and then that long exhalation to know that this very exhale is shifting your inner state of being. Sometimes easily, quickly, and sometimes it requires our attention for a little longer. Attention is an important choice that we can make, where we place our attention. Because as we know, where attention goes, energy flows. So these long exhalations allow heightened energies, exhausted energies, worried, frantic, whatever it may be for you. And I know that each one of us has a challenge right now to just ebb it away and to feel the new. Here it comes, a new breath, a new beginning, a new chance to pay attention to the here, the now, to open to all that might be revealed to you in your body, in your state of being, without judgment. And so this breathing that allows us to penetrate more deeply into here and now and the space around us, to include in our awareness all of us practicing together, is in itself a vital skill. This is a vital skill to hold focus. And we know it's not easy to hold focus. Holding focus to not be distracted by everything around us. And that's really a central teaching in the path of happiness. It's a central teaching in so many traditions. And it has come to us in the form of mindfulness meditation, through the ancient teachings of the Buddha, and translated into modern parlance with the early Buddhist teachers, such as Jack Cornfield, and many they are. This is the path to happiness, to joy, to a life well lived. And yogis were doing it. We're doing it just by lying and breathing and feeling. Do you have a little prayer or intention that you would like to bring into your practice? Take a moment and see what it is, languaging it in the way that is authentic to you. And then let that prayer or intention rest in your heart. As though placing it in your heart. Intention seems to work very well if we say them 3 times with heartfelt conviction, as though they are already So, give yourself that time. Beautiful, everyone. Let's make a small shift with our props to come into our second pose today, which is the bridge pose. So that blankie under your head, just move it to the top of your mat. It's out of your head's way. And as you now draw your knees in towards your chest a moment, a little teensy hug, and then place your feet flat past the bolster, giving you leverage to lift your hips, to pull the bolster up so that your hips now come to rest on your lovely cushy bolster, giving us this elevated hips pelvic position. Noticing how the upper back now can rest more deeply. And what about the legs? You can keep them bent or you can slide them straight back onto the blocks that are now quite handy to make this pose more accessible. And the arms alongside your body. And so we have a very spacious, upward facing, stretchy body. Please adjust as needed. Lower the bolster, replace it with something a little less, a folded blankie. And now the invitation is for your attention to go into your body. Focusing on the sensations in your body. Now, if there's a great discomfort, you should totally adjust. And if there is a feeling of stretch, right now I'm feeling it along the length of my legs, tummy, quads. And how lovely it is to let the shoulders fall back onto the mat. Mindfulness of body sensations. Mindfulness of breath, coming back to our established breath. 3 parts inhale, 3 parts exhale, which flows one into the next. This being present is our medicine. It is both the medicine and the information that we need to see what is here. When our minds are filled with the to-do list, what has to happen by a certain time, we forget to be fully here and now. The same technique of being fully present and allowing things to be, slight discomfort, good stretch, applies when we are having big emotions. A big emotion in our field now is fear. What's going on? And so in the practice of mindfulness, the way to work with fear is to notice when it's arrived and to not push it away, but to actually give it space to come into your body and to notice, where in my body is this fear? For me, it's often in my lower belly, a little contracting there. This particular pose is giving a lot of space to the lower belly. And so to feel the breath, to give it more space in the lower belly or wherever in your body you find that fear comes to rest. And so this making space for fear, to not run away from it, to not suppress it, but to let it flow through us the way the breath is right now flowing through us. Making space for whatever emotion arises. Sometimes we become consumed with jealousy or envy, and we know how awful that feels, and we just give it space to flow through the deep breathing. It's an act of generosity to make space. It's an act of great courage to make space for difficult emotions to express themselves. So whether this is happening for you right now, or this is a tool that I'm suggesting should it happen at some point, allow it in and let it play itself out. There's an important part to this. Do not feed the negative emotion with the storyline, the narrative that's brought it up. So we just go to the raw feeling itself, without the language, without the situation that brought it up. Perhaps you are just at peace right now, witnessing, allowing, and doing the practice. And if fear is a recurring thing for you, we learn to work with the fearful mind. And if we open our eyes and our heart to the fearful mind and gently name it, fear. Fear is here, experiencing its energy as it moves through us. The whole sense of fear will shift and eventually become recognition. Ah, fear, here you are again. I know you. Oh, how interesting you've come. Make friends with your fear. These are the teachings from Jack Cornfield. And so Jack goes on, from this foundation of loving awareness and acceptance, we could make choices about how to act with some degree of discrimination and wisdom. Sometimes it's wise to retreat from a situation. And sometimes we move ahead despite the fear. We become more willing to take some risks because our energy is not so bound up in resisting the feeling of fear. We learn that it's okay to feel fear. Our mindfulness practice should challenge us to come to the edge of what we're willing to be with, what we're willing to do, and what we're willing to be open to. And if we keep avoiding the feeling of fear, we will have to build barriers and defenses and close ourselves off from every experience where fear might arise. This is not possible. This is not impossible to do, but it results in a narrow and restricted way of living. We close our hearts and close off the possibility of true vitality, compassion and growth. It's what we want, yogis, a vital life. Are you ready to complete this pose? Go ahead and put your feet flat if your legs have been straight, so that you can lift your butt, push the bolster back down, land your sacrum on the mat, and hug your knees in. Just hug them in. Circle them together. And circle the other way. If you're feeling very vital and vigorous, you might catch the exhale and hug yourself so deeply that your chest and your nose lift up towards the knees, a tight little tuck. And let all of that go and gently roll to your side as we set up now for our next pose. This time we'll be facing forward. So let's grab the blocks from the foot of the mat and place them in a little step at the head end of the mat. And bring our bolster now to form our recliner. But we're going to be in the spinal rotation child's pose. Sitting now on your left butt cheek. And of course you can have a blankie under your left butt cheek to soften it all. You might use a blankie under your knee as well. And so lift and turn your trunk towards your bolster and lie forward and lie on one ear. Probably best to lie on your left ear. Now see how your shoulders relax forward. You can put a little pillow blankie under your head if you like. And this lovely, lovely lying forward, the weight of your body now is reorienting the other way. You might even feel that internal shifting of gravity. But what's constant is your breath. Your breath is still here. To cultivate deep lower back breaths, but effortlessly. So easy. Simply direct your breath to your lower back. And so we are in the month of Leo. A few of our Sundays have already had lots of conversations about the symbolism, the image, the meaning of the lion, both in mythology and in many, many cultures, and the constellation up in the heavens, and all that the lion stands for. Buddha also spoke about the lion, and he called the teachings of the Buddha, the lion's roar. And we know how powerful thing a lion's roar can be. So if you've ever been on safari and laid in your tent and heard the deep roar of the lion, you know and understand its power. And we've all seen it on our cinema screens, the great big Metro Golden. There is power in the roar of the lion. And we are cultivating our lioness-esque nature. That is great courage, big heart, steady focus, fearlessness, great generosity, compassion. So many spiritual traditions have also used the image of the lion. And in this birthing of the new humanity, the lion's gate has become such an important part of the year that as we travel through these areas of our galaxy, we meet these portals. And so last week we passed through that portal, and the sense of renewal, abundance, and more of what is to come. But what we are asked to do is to hold our gaze steady. To hold our gaze steady, much the same as holding focus, the way the lion can do. The gaze of the lion. And so what takes us down is the news. What takes us down is hearing the catastrophes here, there, and everywhere. What takes us down is arguing with our friends and relatives about how we should be responding and what we should be doing. It takes us down. So be the lion. Be like the lion. Hold your gaze steady. Holding the gaze steady and the heart open to the kindness, to the compassion. To know that when we are clear about something and our family member has a totally different storyline about it, that we do not need to persuade them, because we are all authentic, autonomous beings, and we have to trust ourselves and one another to follow the path we're on, because that is one of our big gifts, the gift of choice. And it takes a little self-control to bite your tongue when you are dying to lash out. This moment, this breath, this practice of staying present, it becomes a healing practice. As we heal ourselves, we heal the field around us. We are a circle of healing together. Three more breaths in this position. And then using your hands, press up and away from the ground to switch over, to take your position on your right hip, to renew the revolved child's pose, sitting on your right hip. And as we did before, we've got one hand on each side of the bolster to lift and turn our torso forward, a little crack in the back. Did you hear it? Maybe you have one too. And then lie on your right ear. Snuggled in and comfy. Just to make it more comfy for you. Back to breath. There is a teaching about the lion's gate in the Buddhist tradition that I'd like to share with you tonight. And it's an interesting one, and one I hadn't actually heard before, but find fascinating because it really makes sense. And so the Lion's Gate parable is perhaps more meaningful in today's hectic world than it was in ancient Tibet. Today, anger, fury, social unrest, and dissatisfaction make the Lion's Gate a very relevant gem of ancient Buddhist wisdom. Mainly, when we feel paralyzed by choices, including choosing the best of bad choices, this insight can be beneficial. So when we understand it, this nugget of wisdom becomes very relevant today. Here is the way that Milarepa, one of the greatest sages of Tibet, languages this teaching. When you run after your thoughts, you are like a dog chasing a stick. Every time a stick is thrown, you run after it. Instead, be like a lion who, rather than chasing after the stick, turns to face the thrower. One only throws a stick at a lion once. So the lion's gaze invites us to, instead of chasing the stick of our thoughts, the distractions that pull us, the latest story, the latest gossip, the did you hear this, and chasing that stick endlessly. It invites us So we learn to focus on the lion in whatever situation. We avoid the distraction, the temptation to chase that stick. And this will help us in many, many situations. We get insight. We build steadiness and courage of the lion's gaze. Instead of following the distraction, we look at the source. And so if it is anger, anger has arisen in us, look at that. Look at that and treat it as we might fear or any other difficult emotion. The lion gazes steadily at the source, the thrower. A dog's gaze follows the object, the stick. Our source of experience is our own mind. That is the source of our experience, and the stick is only the phenomena. We need to look at our mind, the source of the emotion. An emotion like anger represents the stick. The source hurling that emotion is our mind, and it is our mind that projects. A wise and clear mind experiences something far more luminous and transparent. Conduct is caring. Such dynamic inner and outer relationship informs and purifies our vision. It is said that Buddha pointed one hand to heaven and one hand to the earth, and he said with a lion's roar, I alone am the honored one in the heaven and on the earth. Fear not. And the lion's roar became synonymous with the Dharma, the teachings. And here we are, beautiful yogis. We've been in this shape enough. Gently make your way up and out. And come into the third in our sequence, which is child's pose, directly over this bolster. Not for everyone pose. Show you how it looks. I've got my knees all tucked in. Easier said than done for a lot of us. So you're going to lie on your tummy. Like this. Just grab the bolster, put it under your tummy, a hand, and then lie forward. And so, oh, this feels good. This feels better for me today. And so pick the pose that feels good for you today. So we're lying so close to the earth. So we could breathe together with the earth. Slow, beautiful breaths to your back. I know lots of people think yoga is about stretching and doing exercises, but it really is a way of life. It's a way of viewing the world through initially this beautiful body that we've been given to live in, to express our consciousness, to express our uniqueness. We've learned from DNA that it is absolutely unique to each and every one of us. So we are this unique expression. Yoga invites us to move into these different areas of being human and to link all of them together into one whole body, mind, spirit, life purpose, mission, all of it. And we do it by opening to the vitality of this moment. Our breath, and to listen when we become very quiet to the inner promptings. Three more breaths in this shape. And push your way up to set up for our next pose, which is a seated forward bend. Just remembering that one of the reasons I really wanted to learn yoga in my earlier years, and I started at the age of 13, can you believe it? That's a long time ago. One of the reasons was that I wanted to be able to keep doing this until I'm very, very old. And so, here we are. Make a little tabletop with your props, 2 upstanding blocks, bolster across, or if you do not have props, use your little coffee table or a nearby chair, and situate yourself on a folded blanket or a pillow. You can have wide legs or simply crossed legs. Then lean forward and make your back long and rest your brow on your hands, on your fists, on a little pillow. And here we are in this different shape to feel new places of activation in the physical body. We always begin in the physical body. We move into breath awareness. And we move into witness consciousness, where we simply observe. Observe the mind. This is the lion's gaze, to steadily witness all that is here without reacting. practicing mindfulness meditation in the position of restorative yoga. The breath comes and goes. This moment is fleeting and it's gone. There is the next. The impermanence of life, how short it is taught by Ajahn Chah, a wonderful teacher of one of the many teachers in the West, Jack Cornfield. And this is how Ajahn Chah teaches impermanence. And holding up a glass that he always drank out of, he'd hold it up and say, "I love this glass. Do you see this? I love this glass. It holds the water admirably. When the sun shines on it, it reflects the light beautifully. And when I tap it, it has a lovely ring. Yet for me, the glass is already broken. When the wind knocks it over, or my elbow knocks it off the shelf, and it falls to the ground and shatters, I say, of course." And when I understand that this glass is already broken, every minute with it is precious. So can you imagine opening without resistance to the aliveness, change, and loss that is inherent in this existence? Can you imagine opening in this very moment to pleasantness and pain, the changing flow of life? It is that openness that awakens the lion's roar. And it is that openness that allows us to live with a heart that's really ready for anything. A heart that can say yes to this moment, whatever it's bringing. 3 more breaths in the seated forward bend. Gently make your way up. Our next setup is elevated legs position. So you can use this little setup, or you can go to your wall. See what is available for you. You know what to do. I'm going to demonstrate using this setup. So now we'll be on our backs completely, and it's a wonderful counter pose to the seated forward bend, which is a huge stretch for the spine. And now the spine can completely relax as you lie on your back, with either your legs against the nearby wall, and tuck your sit bones close to the wall if you can. And if you don't have a wall available, you use your coffee table, your chair, or your props setup. And you return to the breath, and you return to the mindfulness practice. How is it now? Things have shifted and changed again. Perhaps you find yourself more relaxed, less triggered by the world. Low, slow belly breaths that are so soothing. If you'd like to become really more deeply involved in your breath, and that's such a powerful yogic practice, let's do this breath. It's going to be in for 4 counts. We're going to relax and hold the breath for 4 counts. And then we'll exhale for 8 counts. So I'm going to guide you through the first few. Breathe out completely. And now let's breathe in together for 1, 2, 3, 4. We're full of breath. Just relax. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. And let's exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All the breath is out, and we inhale again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On your own now, yogis. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 8. So we're slowing down the exhalation. And onto your next round. So make your count doable. If you're new to this, know it's okay to do the best you can without strain, and certainly without any self-judgments. This is to calm us, to relax us more. in a beautiful place to practice pranayama, breath control. If you can stay focused, stay with the practice. And if you've lost the plot, no worries. Just come back to it. It's a commitment. Two more rounds of the counting breath. And as you complete your final counting breath, shift to natural breath. No more counting, simply observing and see how the breath wants to breathe. Might want to keep doing that. It might want to do something different. So from controlling to allowing, a very beautiful life skill. Shift from controlling to allowing your breath. witnessing any shifts and changes to your inner being. And we prepare now to come into our next shape. So we've got to bring the legs into the chest, have a little tiny hug in, roll to your side, and then come back to your mat and set up your props for the open book pose. The open book pose, we have a recliner with side blankets. So that same little step that we did earlier. And this is an upward facing shape. We will use all the props we have. Although we have options with the legs, they can be straight or in cobbler's pose. Cobbler's pose, soles of the feet touching as the knees drop wide. And we are now in this lovely open shape. A little bit like the spine of a book, our body's spine, right in the middle. We're in the middle of the book. We're dropping equally left and right. So get yourself comfy, and if it's not a happy place for the legs, just have your legs straight. If your lower back's not comfy, slide a little bit away from the end of the bolster. And then as we settle in, bring your breathing to your tummy. Back to where we began at the beginning. Rest and digest. This is the area of the body that does that. Checking in with the tummy. Sometimes it's busy digesting food, and sometimes it's like really getting ready for some dinner. Whatever it is, just let it be. Keeping your breathing at the pace that we've established it, just leisurely but deep and focused with the lion's gaze on its coming and going. Shift your awareness now to the area of breath that's happening in the middle of your chest at your heart. Beautiful breathing happening at the heart. Entering now the tiniest atom of your heart. The image of a magnificent red rose. Beautiful red rose in full bloom at your heart. The petals spiraling from the center in ever widening spirals, but still so beautifully formed. There's this glorious red rose that is your heart, that is your beautiful heart. The heart that is innately loving, innately generous, innately tending towards good. And as you hold the image of this spiral of the beautiful petals of your rose, you notice your rose is so fragrant. The beautiful fragrance of your rose becoming apparent. And how, as we image both through the visualization and the sense of the fragrance, allowing the spiraling of your rose to get bigger until it covers not only your heart, but your entire chest. And it grows and it spirals and it spirals into this ginormous, magnificently fragrant, beautiful red rose. It covers the field well beyond your body. And how now we can radiate out, shine this beautiful rose as roses do, to anyone who will view, anyone who will stop to smell. And so the sense of radiating love, compassion, generosity, beauty, reciprocity, spiral it out and radiate it out, dear yogis, to your loved ones. May you too live in beauty. May you too live without resistance to all that comes. May you too awaken to your innate beauty. And just as the rose shines her beauty on anyone without judgment, we too can send this. Send it out to those who are struggling, those who view the world so differently to us. Without judgment, we send the love to simply send the love. You can imagine and send and direct to all the places that you are wanting to bestow and generously give your loving, wise heart through the image of a fragrant rose. We're all doing it. And we know that when two or three or more are gathered together, I am there. So there is a tremendous power to this, dear yogis. Keep at it. This innate reciprocity, as we give, we receive. And know that it is so. We complete this beautiful sending out. We come back to remembering our own prayer or affirmation at the beginning of the practice. We give thanks for it. And then gently come out of this shape. So help your knees back up together. Walk your feet apart and let your knees lean in. Tuck your tail a little bit away from the bolster so your sacrum comes to ease. Lovely integration, inpouring of energy. Feel that. And then please roll off your sit-up and come to a seated position. So beautiful to spend time with you, relaxing, breathing, learning a few skills, remembering a few skills you probably already knew. Stay focused. Choose where you focus. I wish you a beautiful week, dear yogis. So grateful you could be here. Let's inhale the arms up and spread and say yes without resistance to all that's coming. Namaste.